Okay, we're live here on this Break the Cage hangout today, talking again about our topic. This is our third week. We had a couple weeks break because of travel and logistics and things, but we were talking about what successful entrepreneurs do to get financial freedom and living a balanced life. This is part three of a series that I'm doing with Ohwofasa, who lives in the UK. And part of an ongoing series I have with a number of people that I've done over the years. So we talked about mindset. We talked about marketing. Today, we're going to talk about mastermind. That's an interesting topic. It has been, well, before we get jumped in, I'll just welcome our guest. Welcome, F.A. from the UK. How are you doing over there?
I'm great. Kellan, how are you doing today?
I'm excellent. So how's the weather? Is it hot or cold?
It's fantastic. It's hot. I feel like I'm back home in Africa now. It's very hot.
So it's Africa hot.
Africa is very, very hot.
Yeah, you said it was like Africa hot. That's very bad. So what's the temperature going to be today? Or was it today? I guess it's night there. What was it today?
I'm not too sure, but it will be between 27 and 30, I think.
So 30 divided by 5, 6 times 9 is 72, plus it's a 90 something, 94, 95. Is it humid? Is it wet, sticky?
It's hot.
So wet, sticky, and hot. Yuck. All right.
It's
well,
not wet. Yeah.
Okay. Well, I'm in Alberta today. I was in Phoenix yesterday, and the last 2 weeks in Phoenix have been really hot. 110, 11, 12, 15. Welcome to summer. That's what June usually is in Phoenix. But it's not so bad this week. And I flew last night up to Alberta. We're spending the summer up here because I don't want to spend the summer in Phoenix. So,
okay.
All right. So we got that out of the way. Today, like I said, we're going to talk about something called mastermind, which is many people have a definition. So let's just start by asking, what is a mastermind, F.A.? What is that?
Well, mastermind, as the name implies, is the meeting of minds. Is where a group of people come together to have an opportunity to share ideas, to share insights, and the purpose of it is to establish a support for each one of them, support for their emotional, personal, and professional development. And as a result of that support they get from each other, they build and grow their businesses.
Okay, so a group of people that meet together intentionally to create professional, personal, emotional support to help them grow business and do that stuff. I'm moving my camera around a little bit since I didn't like all the background. Anyway, so, okay. That's the definition of a mastermind, which, do you belong to masterminds, F.A.?
Yes, I do. I have series 3 of 3 mastermind group that I set up for different purposes. One is to keep myself accountable for success, and the other is the platform I use to empower entrepreneurs. Just last couple of weeks, I did an event. No, I was invited to speak to a group of business owners. And at the end of it, I made an offer for a workshop, which I got 5 people paid to attend the workshop. And I did the workshop 4 hours, 30 minutes. At the end of the day, I turned all the members of the audience to become a group of mastermind group. So they meet once in a month, beginning from July.
Okay, that's fantastic. So what was it in the discussion that you gave them that made them want to pay for the workshop and then continue supporting each other in the mastermind? What were the attractive pieces of that?
If you remember, I've told you before, one of the ways, the 70% of my clientele, I normally get them from speaking, doing speeches and doing seminars. I was invited to come and do a talk free of charge at a networking meeting, and I spoke for 25 minutes. And at the end of my presentation, I made an offer of...
Yeah, my question was, what was in the offer that made them so excited? In other words, I'm trying to get for our listeners what it is about the workshop that was so attractive to them? What were they feeling that they would get or that they needed?
It's because I was able to establish authority with them by the content of my workshop, by the value they got from the workshop. Then at the end of the day, I told them the benefits of being part of a mastermind group. And they said, wow, we will want to sign up for it. So I told them what is involved, how it works, and the cost. And they signed up for it.
That's excellent. So the way you defined mastermind was a group of people who meet for emotional, business, and personal support, and they meet together on a regular basis.
Yeah.
When you conduct those masterminds, what happens? Like when the mastermind meets once a month, is that in person or virtual?
It depends. It depends on the group. They decide what is more convenient for them and comfortable. They can do it. They can meet either face to face, in person, or they could decide to hang out as we're hanging out now. Now, irrespective of how they meet, this is how it is structured. For the mastermind group to be effective, there are some steps someone needs to be careful. One, you select the right people, not just everyone. The right people are people who are in the same, if you're a business owner, people who are entrepreneurs, people who are open-minded, people who are goal-oriented, people who like to create synergy and energy to move forward in the business. And to make it effective, number of people shouldn't exceed 6 people at a time. As a first step, select the right members for the audience.
Okay, cool. So a couple of really important things there that I think should be emphasized, and that is about being open-minded, goal-oriented, willing to support one another. They like to create things. That's all really good stuff, because if they don't have that sort of thing, I've been in groups, masterminds, and even run some, where a person is coming only for them. Like, I'm here to get everything I can, get. What about my project? What about this? What about that? Everything is just for them, you know? And you're going to go to my thing. You're going to like my stuff. You're going to buy my book. And what does that do when somebody's like that?
Such person needs the person needs to be told how it works, and that will not take me to the second step regarding mastermind group. There must be a structure, and this is how mastermind group is structured. The group decide how long they want to meet in each meeting. Like the one I do is a maximum of 2 hours. So in each meeting, everybody has an opportunity to talk about themselves, whatever they want to talk about themselves, their business, whatever they are free to talk about. They change their challenge, their goals, their desire, whatever, for 15 minutes. And there is a timekeeper. So you talk about your stuff for 15 minutes and you shut up and the next person talk. So that is a structure, one of the structure. Number 2.
So if you get to talk about your stuff for 15 minutes, does that include the feedback from group members, or is that just the person talking?
No, it doesn't include. You will talk for 15 minutes. Then whatever you talk about, that the other members will give you feedback, their own ideas, and what they think or know about the issue you raise. And they will give feedback. So you now have your own discretion to make a decision about what you will accept and what you will not accept or take away.
Okay, cool. So it's 15 minutes and then 5 or 10 minutes for feedback, or?
Yeah, 5 or 10 minutes for feedback. And the timekeeper structured,
And how long is the whole meeting? 2 or 3 hours?
Not more than 3 hours at a time, maximum.
Okay, so if there's 6 people and each person gets 15 to talk and 10 minutes for feedback, that's like 25. So that's about 2.5 hours. All right, good. So that's a really important description that you've given, and here's what I'm thinking, because I belong to several masterminds where you pay, you know, some pretty significant fees. Now, I didn't ask you what you charge, and maybe you want to talk about it, maybe you don't. But I belong to some where people would charge $25 or $30 or $40,000 to belong to something like that for a year. And then you go somewhere and you have 3-day meetings like 4 times a year. So you go have long meetings, go somewhere, do it in person, and do it 4 times a year. The difference, I mean, and how you meet, you could meet once a month on the phone, and there may be some real benefit to that. But the complete difference than what you've talked about, and why I really like your thing, is that because so much money has been paid, there is an expectation that the leader of the mastermind somehow provide all this magic value. In other words, it becomes an extended seminar. It becomes, I'm going to come and teach you some stuff, and then you're going to do that and implement that and work on it and ask questions about it and help each other with that. And that becomes, as opposed to what you've described, which is the value coming from the intentional and structured change of ideas between the different members.
Yeah. Well, mastermind group, it depends on who is organizing it and the intention the person has. It could be a mastermind group where you want to bring people together and you want to teach them your stuff. I haven't done that. The one I do, I bring people together. They talk about a challenge. They talk about their goals. It could be either business, personal, or professional. And you share ideas with other people, what to do, what not to do. And you set a goal for the next meeting, and you come back with feedback, what you did, how things went well for you, how things didn't go well for you. You come back. So you become accountable for your success or whatever thing you do.
So I like that. And it's a lot more in line with, you know, Napoleon Hill and the original Think and Grow Rich talked about those meetings that he had, you know, in his head, and his dream meetings with his board. And I think he had like 10 or 12 people there. You've read that, I'm sure, a few times, right?
Yes, I have. Yeah.
And so that was what you're describing is a lot more in line with what it felt like he was talking about, although the Lincolns and the other people in his dream didn't present their challenges, but it was structured in the sense of he was able to talk about his specific challenges and get feedback from each of those people around his roundtable in that context. And that's a lot more in line with what a real mastermind feels like. What do you think is the difference between those two models?
Well, the one you describe and the one I'm talking about is about moving forward with yourself and your peers. The other one I think is business oriented for profit. You want to bring people together who you want to teach your expertise so that they pay you that money. I really don't see that as a mastermind. That is a kind of it's a workshop. It's a seminar you're doing, bringing people together to come and learn, and you teach them. You could teach, but not you actually getting people to sit down and you teach something and they don't have opportunity to share their challenge or what bothers them in the business. So my mindset is different from what they do regarding to that.
Yeah, I agree with you. And I like what you're talking about. That's what I meant when I said before we started that the term mastermind is sometimes abused. Mastermind, the idea is a mastermind, the collection of many minds with power beyond the individual, because you have a master mind. And I like that. The other thing I think is a for-profit business sort of high rent seminar where someone is seen as the guru, and you come together to learn at the feet of, you know, this person because they're so cool. And maybe they are, and maybe you should do that. But I agree with you. It's not really a mastermind.
Yeah, it is. Now, again, there's another element to making the idea of mastermind become a reality. There is a commitment from every member of the group. Commitment of time. Commitment of regular attendance, the willingness to participate in each meeting scheduled. and also the commitment to agree to confidentiality. What is discussed among the group members shouldn't be discussed outside else, because you people will lose trust if you discuss what issues about the people you discuss with people outside the mastermind group. So you must be aware of those commitments.
So that's really important. Confidentiality, a willingness to show up and add value. In other words, if you're expecting to get value, you got to show up all in, and you're interested and willing to help everybody that's coming. So how many of these do you run at one time? If they meet once a month for 3 hours, 2.5, 3 hours, do you try to keep 2 or 3 going, or 10, or what do you do?
I currently have 3 active ones now. I just set up one last week, which will be effective in July. That they will meet once every month for 2 hours. Can you hear me? You still there? Velocity?
Yeah.
Hello, Kellan?
I can hear you just fine.
Can you hear me, Kellan?
Yes.
I can hear you, yeah?
I can hear you.
Okay, great. So, like I said, I have 3 mastermind groups set up now. 3 different audience, 3 different platforms. One, they meet once 2 hours at a time, and the other one meet twice a month, 2 hours at a time. They are different group of entrepreneurs I lead.
What made you decide to have them meet once a month versus twice a month?
It's a model, it's a system creating for my business. One, it's a platform where I could serve people to become more and to achieve more and grow with their business. And secondly, it's a platform for me to have my cash flow going as well. They pay me monthly.
What made you decide to meet twice a month instead of once a month? What was going on there?
Okay, the one for twice a month, there are people who have been in business longer than the other set of mastermind group I set up. There are people who are been in business for long and they invested more money in the mastermind group. So they need more of my expertise than the other group. So they want to meet with me more than once in a month.
Okay, cool. Well, that sounds like a very interesting and sounds like successful modality for you. So what would you say to someone about 2 things? One, about joining a mastermind, like looking for and joining one. I have 2 questions, so let's just do that one first. What advice would you give someone about looking for and joining a mastermind?
First of all, have a purpose why you want to join. If you don't have a purpose, you will just go there and you will not get value from it. Have a purpose for it. That's one. Secondly, select the right audience or the right people you want to join effort with in the mastermind group. If, for example, you are an entrepreneur, you want to mastermind with other entrepreneurs who are doing much better than you, who are, in terms of their business, they're bigger than you. So when you mastermind with them, they will inspire you, they will motivate you, they will stretch you, make you to think out of your comfort zone, and you want to become more.
So how much should a person expect to pay for a mastermind like you've described, where there's maybe 6 people, they meet once a month, and they're looking to mastermind with people that are at or above their own level? What would people expect? Because the kind that I described, where they meet 4 times a year, 3 days and stuff like that, that's $20,000, $30,000, $40,000 for a year. So as a monthly fee, what would someone expect to invest?
Again, it depends. Like the one you mentioned to me, I don't think that is a mastermind group. That is a seminar. So like these ones, it depends on. So
what would someone expect to spend?
Like the one I newly set up is between either £500 a month or £1,000 a month or £1,500 a month. So it depends on who is doing it, and depends on how good a person is about running a mastermind group. So it depends on the individuals. So people can do it for 50 quid. 6 years ago, that was the first time I set up a mastermind group when I was still struggling with my business. I didn't know who to turn for. I had my challenges, my failures. I set up a mastermind group and it was free. That was 6 years. It was very good. That's gave some energy to. So it depends on who is doing it and.
But for a good one, someone should expect to pay between 500 and 1,000 pounds or something like that.
Yes.
Okay, cool. So I agree with you. Those other large ones are not masterminds. They're not structured. You don't that way. They don't meet often enough, and they don't come with assignments for people to get feedback like regularly on stuff. No. They may come with a particular thing like a presentation done, or they may come with some idea. But when they meet only quarterly, it's not often enough to really bring the accountability and stuff.
That is on the mastermind group, no.
So the second question, after how much would someone should expect to invest, what advice would you give to someone? So in looking for one, you said find people that are at or above your level. You said find people that have the same level of commitment as you do. Find people that are entrepreneurs. If you're an entrepreneur, that are that seem like a good fit. And then that's what you expect to invest, in addition to your time and dedication and emotion and energy and everything else. What would you say to someone who thought maybe they wanted to start running masterminds like you do?
Well, first of all, again, have an intention, have a purpose in it. Okay, when there is no purpose, you cannot structure it. Have an intention. Why go figure out how to do it? So the intention could be maybe you want to tap into the wisdom, the mind of people, so that you can grow your business where it is to other people outside your industry or outside the market. And with that relationship, you could generate referrals, you could generate business. So have a purpose for it.
Okay, so first thing is to have a purpose. What else would you say to somebody that wanted to start one?
Have a purpose for it. Then if you decide you want to do it, just take action and look out for people in your network. Look out for people on social media you can connect with. Like what I did 2 years ago. There's this guy, I just sent him an email. I said, it's all about. If you're interested, please let me know and I will tell you more about it. And he said, oh, why? Yes, I've been thinking about doing that. So why let's do it. And I did the same thing with a couple of other people, and that was how it was established. So if you say you have a purpose, or you just go and take action.
Okay, so I don't know, I lost part of that last piece, but what I heard you say is, nod if you can still hear me.
Yeah, I can hear you very loud. Yep.
Can you hear me good, or is it broken up?
Yes, I can hear you.
Okay, cool. So what I heard you say is have a purpose. You said that on both of them. So I'm going to ask you about this. You say that a lot, have a purpose. I'm going to ask you about that in a minute. But what I heard you say is have a purpose, take action, find people that you think just make sense, reach out and see if they're interested. And when you've got 6 or 7 or something that say they're interested and say they're committed, and just take action and move forward. Is that what I heard you say?
Yes, that's what I said, yeah.
Great. So every time I've asked you something, or not every time, most of the time, you talk about having a purpose. Obviously, that's a really important part of your coaching and your teaching. Would you talk a little bit about that purpose-driven action?
Yeah. One of the principles that has helped me in this adventure I am in as a coach, speaker, and consultant is having a purpose. Because when a purpose of a thing is not known, abuse is inevitable. If you don't have a purpose for doing something, you will not commit to it. you will not give it all of your attention. So if, for example, somebody doing because a friend mentioned it to you, it might sound good to you initially. You might say yes to it initially, and you will quit after a period of time. But if you say, this is why, this is the purpose, reason why I want to join a mastermind group, or I want to establish my mastermind group, you commit to it. That's what I mean by purpose.
Okay, so having a powerful purpose, make sure that you're committed, make sure it's clear in your mind, because if it's not clear in your mind, you'll quit after a while anyway.
Yes.
And so that purpose is the thing that gives you motivation to start with, courage to keep going when it gets difficult, or to show up to meetings when you don't feel like it, or to prepare so that you don't come unprepared and you just sit there and you don't contribute. I think that's another benefit of keeping them small, like you said, because when there's 20 people in the room, you can hide. When there's 6, you can't.
Nah, you lose the synergy. Synergy. And one thing again you must be mindful of is when you have the mastermind group of the people you want to meet with, you all decide when, where, how often, and for how long you want to meet. That must be established and agreed by every member of the mastermind group.
How, when, and how long. Excellent. So you talked a lot about your purpose. I know that your purpose in doing a mastermind, some of your purpose is that it's your business, and so you do that because you make money at it. But I've also heard from you that you really enjoy helping entrepreneurs sort of connect with their own purpose and create a business where maybe they were struggling right now like you have before. And so since you've learned how to do that and create this financial freedom while living a balanced life, that you want to share that with others. Talk a little bit more, besides those things, about your own purpose. Like, what drives you to create these, to facilitate them? Because people pay you to do it, but it takes a lot of work on the part of the host to make sure everybody's there, to make sure notices go out, to run the meeting, to facilitate and make it happen. So even if they're not being the big guru and teaching for 3 days, they're still in charge, and they still have to run it and make it be smooth. Somebody has to keep time. It has to stay on track and all that good stuff. So what drives you?
Good question. What drives me is this. I have a passion to serve people. I have a passion to make people better than I met them. And I have a passion to help people in any way, any platform, to achieve the goals they desire and deserve fast. And one of the ways I do it is through masterminding with a group of people, making them to find clarity, focus, commitment, energy, and prompting them to take action to build their business and create a lifestyle they desire.
Clarity, focus, power, action, commitment, those are great. Why do you suppose you're driven to do that? I mean, people could have great ideas, but what makes you driven to do those things? Something happened? What's part of your life that makes that your passion?
A good question. I was asked this recently. The profession I'm into now as a coach, as a speaker, it wasn't something somebody told me to do. It's something that evolved from my life struggle. I grew up in Africa. I suffered. I was in poverty. When I was 13 years old, I was hawking groceries on the high street back home in Nigeria in the local streets. When I was 13, from 30 to 21 years old, I was in the high street hawking groceries to raise money to pay for my school fees. And in between these years, I traveled with my mom to our village to do farm work. We slept in the village nights for 4 nights in a week, no good water, no electricity. We were doing farm work. We slept in little huts. There was no door. We were sleeping under a hut. There was no window. And sometimes we're lucky we're not bitten by the wild animals. So life was difficult for me, challenging. And along the line, I lost my dad. Things became so tough for me. No money, no connection, nothing. Then, when I was 22 years old, somebody introduced me into personal development by giving me Anthony Robbins' book titled Unlimited Power. And I read that book, and that was why I discovered the power of having a passion, having a vision, time management, and goal setting. So I developed interest in reading self-help book. And I read all sort of books that came my way that day. Now, and that gave me a passion that, oh, there are people out there who are going through stress and pain that I'm going through. I'm going to give a talk to them. So I started going to colleges, universities back home in Africa, in Nigeria. And within a year, I spoke to over 10,000 people going to schools, book, and I was selling the book along the line, and I was making money. And that was my first entrepreneurial journey. And ever since then, I have never deviated from there. So I always look for ways, how can I help people? Then I came to England. I discovered life coaching. I trained to become a qualified professional life coach, and I got myself certified and to be a professional in what I do. So I live to help people. I live to make sure someone is not in a difficult problem that they cannot solve. So I want to help people. And that's one of the things I do.
That's great. So then, well, that's interesting. We're just about out of time. I just wanted to comment about one thing. That story that you told is really interesting. And one of the things I do in my business coaching is I help people understand that this story, yours happens to be the village and the poverty and discovering the book and then creating a journey from that, that their own personal story that they have is the foundation for creating their own vision and moving forward. And so whether I help them write books, which I do, or help them through my own coaching and so forth, is to help people understand that they do have power and that their own story and experience has power for them.
Yeah.
And so that's a wonderful, wonderful story you told there, and certainly motivating for you and motivating for others who hear you and then see themselves to one degree or another in your story. So any final thoughts? This has been great. Today we talked about masterminds, about what they really are, about the collection of minds together, like-minded people who are there to serve, help, lift, bless, and cause each other's growth in both personal, business, and professional ways. It requires dedication, commitment, and investment of time, and an investment of money, because somebody has to run it and keep things running. And so that's what FA does. He has several running. If you're interested, you should reach out to talk to him. If I can help you in some way on your business journey, you should reach out to me as well. We've got one more of these that we're going to do next week. So a week from today at the same time, June 18th, to finish up this series of 4 about how to live that lifestyle you want to live. Do you have any final comments?
Final comment is I recommend whoever is listening or watching us today to join a mastermind group, or possibly find a mastermind group. Because if you keep things to yourself, if you are alone, you will get discouraged, you will burn out, and you will quit. So join a mastermind group or establish a mastermind group and commit to it.
Spectacular advice. If you're trying to do this alone, you're making it too hard, you're making it take too long, and you'll get discouraged and quit. So join a mastermind, figure it out, or create one, but do something so you can work with others that are like you. You can either offer them the structure for support by creating it, or you can go find yourself the support by joining it. So I would totally and completely agree with that advice. And I want to thank FA today for being on this episode of Break the Cage, what today's successful entrepreneurs do to attain financial freedom while living a balanced life. Our last and final episode, number 4, will be next week.
Good. Thank you very much, Kellan. It's been great talking to you through these sessions.
Thank you, buddy. We'll see you next Saturday.
Great. Thank you.
All right. Bye-bye.
Bye.